Hey guys, and welcome to the very first episode of The Uncommon Path. And the very first guest we have is a good friend of mine, Jett. He's built this Texas barbecue business that is extremely successful and one of Singapore's largest food businesses. And it's a pleasure to bring him on because what he's done is honestly revolutionized how someone can take an Instagram page with less than 20,000 followers and turn it into a business, making him millions of dollars every single year selling one product. In this video, you guys are going to learn exactly how Jett turned his passion into a business.
At first, I told my parents that give me 6 months. If it doesn't work out, I'll go back to something else.
His secret to making millions of dollars with just a 20,000 follower Instagram page.
And we became more viral after that. Your customers are also your greatest salespeople. For us, if you're an influencer and you want us to pay, we will never pay you because we don't believe in that. Now, looking back, I think the most important is making sure that your business model works, you have a market to serve, and that is sustainable.
His greatest lesson when it comes to building and hiring a team.
They have 6 or 7 staff now, not very big. I think it's interesting because you are now taking care of their families. You're not only taking care of yourself, you're taking care of them and their families. So their well-being equate to how well you do as well.
And most importantly, the mindset behind a success.
Restaurants were open. So then naturally, the demand for your business went like that. I asked 400 people. 6 people replied. I never kept it to myself. I felt lonely. I always voiced it out. It was like 4 a.m. in the morning and I was like cleaning the smoke. I was like, wow, it's really, really tired. Is this worth it?
I hope you guys enjoy this video. So I guess to start off, for the people who don't know who you are, who are you, where are you from, and what have you built?
So I'm Jett. I'm a founder of a Texas barbecue restaurant in Singapore. I'm a little funny because Singapore doesn't have much space. But I guess I started this business and named it after myself because I like to cook. And it was almost sort of an accident that this happened. Didn't plan out to start a barbecue restaurant. I was actually studying to be an accountant. And during COVID, different people have touched different things. And I just so happened to grow. Jett Barbecue was born out of it. Just because there was restaurants were closing. And then there was a demand for takeaway services, I guess. And that's where Jett Barbecue fit in. I was studying at that point of time to be an accountant. And concurrently, I was doing it. And when I graduated, it just became a natural cycle to continue.
And so you graduated during COVID time.
Yeah.
And that's where you kind of had the idea of starting? Or
I think when I was studying, I was already selling the ribs. So I was sending I was sending food to people's homes. At first, actually, it started all as a giveaway. So during COVID, you're at home, you're doing nothing, and different people have different hobbies. I just continued my hobby of smoking meats. And I was getting fatter. I'm much fatter than I was then. You would know, Carl. Because I've been eating a lot. And so then we were thinking of how to spread happiness with other people. And so then we started doing giveaways. So I smoked salmon, I smoked my own cheeses, I smoked my own bacon, making pastas for people. And then I was giving away smoked ribs. And I always remember my first customer because I never thought of selling it. And she told me that it was her sister's birthday that weekend and she couldn't afford to rely on luck to win the set. And she wanted to buy it. And at the point of time, I was like, wow, F&B is really, really tough. Because number one, there's so many better chefs out there. And that I'm just not a chef, right? I just am someone who cook for fun. And I was like, okay, since she really wanted it, let me just sell her at a certain price. I named the price and I waited and waited and waited. And I thought she wasn't interested anymore. Or maybe I thought I quoted too high. Because at that point of time, you're not doing business and you're like, how much do I actually quote? You go and research, or you have to do 3 times the multiple to be safe. So I just imagined that if I was really doing a business, how much I would charge it for. And 4 hours later, she replied. And then the rest is history. My friends started asking me, hey, Jett, you sold ribs. Why you never sell it to me? And then it's gained momentum from then. And that's where we are right now, doing about 3 to 4 tons of beef ribs a month.
Wow.
So we only sell one product, but it's been good for us.
Yeah. So take me back to the beginning. Like, what was in your head when you had that first customer ask, and it showed interest in essentially what you were offering, and what was going through your head at the time?
So I always knew that I wanted to do business. And I always knew that I liked numbers. So then somehow or rather, I was like, okay, why not I just take a few years to try this out? At first, I told my parents, like, give me 6 months. If it doesn't work out, I'll go back to doing something else. And they were like very supportive and said, yeah, go ahead and try. Because if you don't try, you never know. And I had this whole plan about, what it should become and stuff like that. None of the plans came true, As a uni graduate, you're trained to plan for something to happen. But actually, I realized now that I've been 3 years into the business, that just follow the flow. And wherever, it is a bit more crude, but if you are doing a business from start, whatever gets you money in the door is the right answer to something. If money don't come through the door, then your business can't survive. Then you won't be providing a good to someone else. So revenue is always the most important. So we just followed the revenue. And luckily enough for us, during COVID, it was a perfect scenario for takeaway business now thinking back. Because everybody had money to spend because of various reasons, like they're not traveling. So a lot of people have a lot of disposable income and they wanted something special because you're locked in at home, at least in Singapore. So then we sold out really, really quickly, really, really fast. So then I just decided to take the leap of faith to try it out and try it out, and at least I think we're doing okay, not the best. Always has space to improve, but that's why thanks for asking me to come down, because I don't think I'm the best businessman, but I think good enough to be your first guest. I feel very honored. So thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, dude. And so that time frame when you started, that was 2021.
Yeah.
Okay. That was peak COVID for Singapore with all the lockdowns and stuff.
I think it was 2021. Yeah.
Yeah. Because actually, I still remember our friends and I, for those who don't know, Jett and I, we've known each other for 7 years. We met in the army, and we used to find comfort in those tough times by talking about food and
exactly
how much food we're gonna eat and all the good food we're have when we book out of camp. But yeah, I saw that passion as your friend for food and for cooking, and then we were also one of the first. Our group of friends were one of the first to have samples of your barbecue. When you just got the smoker at home and you're okay, guys, try this. We'll bring it over for the potluck and stuff. So yeah, it's kind of interesting to see, because I think in the business world, people often take their passions and what they're interested in, and then, like you said, apply the numbers, and then from there they can take what they're passionate about and turn it into a business. Do you think going to university helped you start a business?
So I think this is very interesting. I come from a family who runs businesses. So my grandfather used to sell grass, if that makes sense. So those soccer fields in school, my grandfather was a farmer. And my uncle sells trees. So I guess naturally you see people doing business, and you roughly know what sacrifices needs to be taken, or what mindset needs to be taken to be able to run a business. Coming back to your question about university, I went to university knowing that I like numbers, and how it helped my business there, I understand very clearly because I did accounting. So how the sales report, net income, and whatever statements, the profit statements and the balance sheets work. But if your question is, do you need to have a university degree to run a business? I would say no, unless if you are doing something very specialized. Like if you're going to be a doctor and you're going to be an entrepreneur, like you open a few GP clinics, then you definitely need a degree. But if not, following your passion would be good enough. Looking back, university helped me with making more friends. And that in turn became my first group of customers that are still supporting me till today. And social media is very powerful. So in that sense, it helped me. But the curriculum itself, not really. I think that it was a fun experience that everyone can or should go through. But if you have not went through it, you're not missing out. At the end of the day, if you start a business, you must really know what you want to do, have an idea or problem that you want to fix, or are very passionate about, and then just go do it. If anything, university students might have a bit of a not disadvantage, but a bit of an actual hurdle to overcome because we plan everything so perfectly. And that's what I did. At the start, you would plan like, I'll do this, 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 and this. And if I don't hit this, and this, means I will not be successful. But that's not true. For business, you have to solve an issue. Maybe you plan everything perfectly for 6 months. Tomorrow, example, COVID hit. You have to change. If not, you won't survive.
Yeah.
That's my thought of it. So I think for university students, of course, you have a deeper understanding of broader topics. And that will help you discover what your passions are. But if you're too much of a perfectionist, you will have to overcome that hurdle because you have to plan along the way. So somebody gave me a very good analogy. If you're working for someone else, your day ends at 6. If you're working for yourself, 6 never comes, right? So you're just fighting problem after problem, and it really depends on how fast you can get up after hitting a hurdle. Is how fast you grow. If that makes sense.
Yeah. So it's about like continuously adapting.
Yeah. You're like a problem solver, right?
Yeah.
You're literally the answer key.
I think when I started my second business, my first business, I didn't have a business plan.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really actually think too much about it. I just, took action. Mm-hmm. But my second business, I was like, okay, I need to have a business plan. I need to, research my target market. I need to get all these figures, do the data analysis, make sure that I've basically everything in place. Kind of, I think it was a coping mechanism to try and like ease my anxiety as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, will this be a success or whatever? But I think a lot of the people that are trying to start out their businesses, they're advised to have a business plan, to think it through, talk to as many people as possible. Mm. What are your thoughts on that? Because
on other people running business.
Yeah, like, I mean, when you were at the beginning, you kind of said that you had a plan. That's what school taught you to do, is to have everything in place and to have everything laid out. But going back, do you think you would have been okay if you just didn't have a plan and you just went along with it? Or do you think having a business plan is really important at the beginning?
I think a business plan is important because at the end of the day, you need to have revenue and profit. So but you don't have to have such an extravagant plan until like from zero to an IPO, because you don't know what happened in between. You need to go from zero, a plan from zero to earning your first dollar. And then maybe you think about how to earn $10,000 and then maybe $1 million. Mm. I used to think in a very big picture way where you think like, oh, how am I going to exit all this and that? But I don't think that is the most important. Now looking back, I think the most important is making sure that your business model works. You have a market to serve and that is sustainable. And then after you solve one problem, maybe this problem leads to a slightly different variation of the same problem, and you're solving that problem. It's not so much like, oh, I need this, because by the time you plan everything and you think as a like $10 million business, when you're zero, you have spent all that time doing nothing and not achieving anything. But of course, you don't want to go out and then do something and lead yourself to nowhere. So this is part where you can have a plan, but you need to be fluid. You need to know what your end goal is. That's what I think.
I think what I've learned, especially on the way, is that it can get quite lonely when you start out. There's no one to really like share the excitement, share the energy with you if you're doing it by yourself. And it's kind of like when you do a school project all by yourself. I think it's personally more enjoyable when I have someone next to me, or at least a team working with me. How was that at the beginning for you? Were you, have you always been a person that works better on his own, or are you someone that actually likes working with other people? How did you find that experience at the beginning?
Oh, that's a good question, right? Very early on when I was doing 1-2 sets, 1-2 customers, I loved doing it alone because it was something I really enjoyed doing. And then when the orders got bigger and the hours get super long, Like I was working 20 hours a day because you have to cut, deliver, sand, clean. Well, cleaning's the worst, but then you realize that you need a team. It was lonely at the start because number one, you had a lot of uncertainties. Like you still don't know what works, right? You don't know who to ask, and you don't know who to talk to because your friends most probably are from university, so they haven't started a business. They're probably like talking about how high paying their jobs are, the stability they have. What I did, I was fortunate enough to have my family, which runs businesses, to discuss with. And I was very close to my cousin, who also ran businesses, also went through the same thing. So giving advice along the way about what's right, what's wrong, what to take care of. My family also did the same. I never kept it to myself if it felt lonely. I always voiced it out, talked to people, understood what it was, and then proceeded on to find the next problem to solve. So I was always moving forward. Or maybe there was 1-2 months over there when it was like 4 a.m. in the morning and I was like cleaning the smoker. I was like, wow, this is really, really tiring, man. Is this worth it? Then I realized actually it's worth it because people were really, really happy when they received the food. And it was during COVID, it was very, very sad. So it worked out okay for me because I took comfort in that I was satisfying people's needs, solving people's problems and stuff like that. That's why I think they say that you have to follow your passion. Because once it's something that there's this saying where once it's something that you really, really love to do, you'll be crazy enough to do the thing that other people wouldn't do.
I mean, you bring up good points. I think it's like you just have to get going, start,
and follow your passion.
And follow your passion. Yeah, it can get lonely, definitely.
Yeah.
But I think if you're passionate about it, you can really push through those tough times, like scrubbing
the floor, scrubbing the grill.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's where you're really tested.
Yeah.
Because it's, yeah.
But there's an interesting point that you put up because I never thought that I was going through anything too difficult. Even though I was working 20-hour days. I was meeting you still at that point of time. I was tired, but I wasn't like sad or anything. If anything, I was really, really happy. Because you can see that it slowly grows. It's like a little baby watching it grow bigger and bigger and bigger. And you realize like, oh, actually it's really cool that you can do something like that. It's not easy, but it's definitely rewarding. And I think that's how I thought of it. And right now, it's to a pace where I feel very comfortable. And interesting fact, my wife was one of my first customers.
That's when you know, man.
Yeah. That's when you know. So I met her through sort of the course of business. She's not working with me together at it now. She still has a job and stuff that she does. But it's very interesting that you can meet someone through this.
Yeah. It sounds like you're really grateful. Like, you know, I think in those tough times, it's important to remind ourselves that we're lucky to be able to do what we're doing.
Yeah.
You know, even if it's scrubbing your smokers at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
And I still remember you were on a crazy schedule, right? You had to get up super early to put the ribs in the smoker and then you would like stay up and then you'd have to flip it every couple hours, right?
Yeah.
And so you were barely getting any sleep as well. Yeah. So it was definitely a hard,
long hour.
Yeah. It's a tough situation you put yourself into. Yeah. But at the end of the day, like it's a privilege that we get to do this. Yeah. And I think that's really important because if you play the victim, you're just going to, feel sorry for yourself and then not actually enjoy it as much as you could.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's no point feeling sorry for yourself. I mean, if you're feeling sorry, actually, I never had that thought, feeling sorry for myself. I always thought that, wow, I just need to solve this problem. I need to solve that problem. I guess it's just the way I am, right? Like, you know me since the army days. I don't really try to pick a problem for anyone, but I just try to solve problems. And if there's no problems to solve, I'm okay sitting down and letting everything run. That's the way I am as a person. But it doesn't mean that you have to be like me to run a business. There's so many different kind of personalities that run businesses out there. But I think at the end of the day, if you are a positive person, it will be very much easier than if you were not so positive.
So at the beginning, you started an Instagram page.
Oh, yeah.
I think this was before before you actually created a business, you were posting food, the
Giveaways.
food, giveaways and things with Bistro Jett, which has changed to now Jett Barbecue.
Yeah.
So how important was social media for you in terms of building your business?
I think it was instrumental. Without it, there would be no Jett Barbecue today, I think. Because from there, we always wanted to give back to our customers. We started as a giveaway page. Even up to today, we still have giveaways every month. Just as a way to tell customers, thank you for all your support. And of course, our customers like it in a certain sense because there'll be like 800 to 1,000 people joining every time we have a giveaway. So I think without social media, it'll be very difficult because it'll be a completely different medium that you're fighting with. Like example, if we're still doing traditional media, it'll be so expensive. I wouldn't be able to afford it. Social media is free. I just share whatever I want to share on it. And if people appreciate my thinking or what I like to share, then they follow me. And they support me through buying our ribs. And I think it's been instrumental. And Jett Barbecue is built completely on Instagram and social media. And without it, we won't be here. That's what I think.
Yeah. For someone starting out, it can be an extremely powerful tool to showcase their product, showcase whatever service they're offering.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's free, like you said. Did you have like a social media plan when you started?
Nah.
Like, did you have like a brand book? Did you like come up with ways to create your brand online, or like how did you go about that when you started out?
No, I just shared what I wanted to share with people, like my food, how it's done, how people feel when they received it. I thought fires were cool, so I like to post my fires, and that was just it. Like it was just a way to connect with people, and people are replying, so I'll just reply back. It's a way for me to connect with people because in a restaurant setting, you'll be able to see people. Like, hey, Carl, how are you doing? Right? How's the food? Yeah, there's human connection. But being a delivery-based business, you can't do that. So I always texted everyone asking them how the ribs were. I always make sure that things were right, and I share things that people share with me on my social media. That's pretty much it. There was no like big plan about what to do. The big plan was not to post too much actually. And I think that's not too good now. I think I should post more. I think it's been some time since I posted something about my ribs. But anyways, we go through mainly word of mouth. That's super important. Without that also it's very, very difficult. So social media is one part, but the most important part is your customers. Because for someone to tell you that you're doing a good job at something and telling their friends about it is much, much more powerful than if I were to tell you that it's good for you.
Yeah.
You wouldn't believe me because everybody has been telling you that they are the best. But just know that once you can get customers to tell their friends that it's good, means that you are really good. There's been countless times when we do events and I'll ask people, how are the ribs? They're definitely going to tell you it's good. But you yourself know that at the back of your head, when other people in the restaurant ask you if food is good, being polite in the Asian society, you say that it's great. But once the waiter walks by, and that's when the truth comes out. So my job is to make sure that after the waiter or myself leave, customers actually feel that they like what they receive, right? I can't have 100% success rate. It's impossible. I try my best to get that number as high as possible.
When you started posting on social media, did you ever feel scared about what people would think?
Oh yeah, 100%, man. 100%. So I'm not an influencer, right? I'm just you've known me since army. I like to keep to myself. I like joking with friends I know, but that group of friends is not very big. And apart, I wouldn't say I'm an introvert. I'm definitely an extrovert. I'm very selective with who I'm extroverted with. Does that make sense? I don't know. So when I started my barbecue and we started selling out, that's when the hate comments started coming in. That was bad because I was like, what did I do wrong? I'm trying my best here. I'm a one-man show, working 20 hours a week. I'm like, I understand that you can't get it, but you just have to queue for it. Because at that point of time, it was a queuing system. So at that point of time, I was like thinking, okay, how am I going to improve my system? And that's why the bigger smokers came, because I needed to get more demand and more supply.
So they were hating on you because
They couldn't order.
it was sold out.
Yeah.
So it was people that were waiting, lining up every time, like online,
Exactly.
right? Lining up online in the queue, and then they wouldn't be able to get it because it would just sell out so quickly.
Yeah. And those hate comments did affect me for a bit, if I was going to be honest, because I was like, I can't do anything about it. Try my best. But at the end of the day, I realized that it shouldn't. I just put it one side, and I told myself that, okay, then I just need to come up with more supply. And if I'm trying my best, then that's good enough. Because at the end of the day, I shouldn't be. How do I put this? At the end of the day, I'm solving problems, right? And I'm still trying my best to solve a problem. And if I didn't manage to get you as a customer and I get scolded, then I need to take that learning journey and make it into something good. And today, we have less of supply issues because we times 8 our capacity. And then sometimes, because you serve so many, we serve thousands of people a month, right? There will be 10 to 15 people that feel like it's overpriced, or it's like not what they thought it was, or why is the meat so black and stuff like that. Then at that point of time, I was like, that's true. Because now I'm reaching a bigger general audience that don't know what Texas barbecue is about. I'll take time, sit down, talk to them, and let them know what Texas barbecue is about, or any worries they have. And if I still can't convince them, I give myself a 0.1%. If there's more than 0.1% of customers that feel disappointed, then I'm doing something wrong. At the start, it was 1%, but now I'm trying to go down to 0.1%. If it's less than, but we have very, very little complaints. I think within a year, there'll be less than 10 complaints. So I think that's very, very, very good. But things that people complain about were a bit too expensive, or it's a bit too difficult to order, or stuff like that, right? So we make sure that they enjoy the food and keep complaints like that to the minimum, because complaints will affect you at the start, especially when you're just starting and every customer means something to you. So you also have to know that. Oh, that's my phone call.
What? No.
You can cut it, huh?
No, but I love that. Like, you're still running the business, like it's 24/7, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, literally. So you're talking about getting some hate at the beginning, with this rib selling out. And I still remember I was also one of the first customers.
Yeah, you were, man.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, I was one of the first customers. I still buy your ribs from time to time.
Yeah, you do.
And I think like it's a continuous, what I've seen is actually at the beginning, you did get a little bit of hate for it being sold out, not having enough supply. But I also think that's why like it got a bit of hype around it.
Yeah,
you see these brands like Supreme, and there are a lot of brands that do drops, limited edition drops kind of thing. And it gets people really hyped around the product and getting people involved. And yeah, there's an excitement. So do you think that was a positive, even though you're getting a lot of hate at the beginning?
Okay, let's rephrase that. Not a lot of hate, some hate, a lot of love. Because it helps your brand, for sure. Whatever you say about Supreme and stuff like that, it wasn't planned, but we of course definitely wrote on it because it's just a way to sell out quicker and boost your branding, and that led to a lot of really good things for our brand, where local influencers pick us up, they wanted to try the food, local newspapers reached out to us, some small-time celebrities in Singapore also reached out, so it was good in that sense for marketing and stuff like that. So I think the more attention you get some negativity with it as well. So I think it's quite normal. For example, we bring our big smokers out, we started a TikTok channel. There's a lot of negative comments, but you learn how to separate them. And sometimes they're just people who, like in my terms, keyboard warrior, and they just want to speak their mind out. And I guess on social media, it's very easy to be anonymous. So that's why it's all right. It's okay to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So just don't take it to heart.
Yeah.
Once you take everything to heart, then that's when the issues occur, I feel. So just don't take it to heart and everything will be fine. Just know that you're doing good for yourself, you're doing your best, and you're achieving and solving a problem, then that's most important. Anything other than that, you can't control. So if you try to go and control it, you feel upset.
Yeah.
So I just shut it off.
So we've talked about the beginning of your journey, your mindset throughout that. I think the most interesting part for me is how you've scaled the business. Because I think, at the beginning, it's quite fun. You get to test out something. But scaling, I think, is where a lot of businesses struggle with, especially after you get those first few customers coming in. You might do a good job, but how do you keep them coming back? And how do you attract new people from coming? So, yeah, take me through the process of scaling your business. Like, when was that point where you're like, okay, it's now time to like take the next big step? I've planted the foundation. How do we take this to the next level?
For me, it was just, like you said, the hype around it. And there was just a need for more supply. So then naturally I was like, okay, I can't do this in my home anymore, right? So it was just a natural progression to go on to the next step to get a commercial kitchen. And then when we were in a commercial kitchen, we thought to ourselves, B2C is not the only way. So we applied for a food manufacturing license, and then we do B2B as well. So I think it was more of where we felt that we could value add to people. And then that's how we decided to move on. And I think really early on when we started selling out and we ordered our smokers, the bigger smokers, we really kind of knew that I wanted to try it full time to see how it worked. So I'll just solve one issue at a time, and that's how it naturally progressed. There was no like one big moment where this is gonna be it. Even up to today, it's like, okay, how am I gonna satisfy my customers? How am I gonna make sure that I add value to my customers' life? And things like that. That's what I think is the question that always goes through my mind.
Yeah, it sounds like even at the beginning of your journey and now talking about scaling the business as well, it sounds like you're very customer focused.
Yeah.
Yeah. What have you learned about being customer centric when you have grown your business? Like, how important is that?
I think customer centric is the most important thing, because at least for F&B, we are literally making customers happy or solving an issue for them. And for us, we're a niche where we solve, like if you want to have a party at home, you look for us, because we will make sure that you get good food and make sure that your guests are happy. So I need to hear what's happening on the ground, what you are facing, what you like, what you don't like, what you need from me. And then that's how naturally we scale, right? Because we offer a bit more products to you. After our first product is successful, we need to see where we can expand. We need to make sure that our team is ready for the expansion and make sure that quality is kept at a really high level. Because one bad comment might take you back a long, long way. Because if you damage your reputation, it's very, very difficult to come back from that. If you lose a certain sale, it's fine, right? If you don't make one more sales, it might hurt you this month's profit margin or this month's revenue. But if you hurt your reputation, the customer is not coming back. And he might tell 5 of his friends that it sucks. And then it will multiply. For us, I would like to think that we have more customers who think that it's good than think that it's bad. So then we naturally got a lot of word from our customers. So I think that applies regardless of what business you're in. Your customers are also your greatest salespeople. If your customers see results for themselves, then naturally they'll tell their friends. If they don't see results for themselves, they will stab you in the back because they're going to tell your friends that it's not good.
So what kind of strategies did you use to be customer centric? Like, how did you get the feedback?
No, I always asked. I'm a person that's not afraid to ask about anything. I'm not afraid to listen to bitter medicine and say that it's not good. I'd rather people tell it straight in my face so I can improve than pretend that it's not there. Some people say I'm a bit too honest, but that's what it is. I think that I ask people straight in the face. If they don't want to tell me, it's fine. But at least I tried asking. I mean, same with everything I do.
Yeah. Because I mean, as a customer, I still remember every time after I order the ribs, the next day you'll send me a message like, how are the ribs? Like,
Yeah.
let me know. And also on your Instagram stories, every time, like every day you post people review, like people's reviews, photos, like people will actually send you photos of them having it. And it's just like, I think it gives that, I think that's why you've managed to take things to where they are now, to that next level, because of that constant feedback from your customers. And also like showing people that, oh, if they send a good review or if they take a photo, they'll be posted online. And I think like it gives them, it's not for everybody, right? Like not every customer will be like, oh, I want to be posted on his Instagram page. But like, I think it just adds to that community vibe, which is quite important nowadays with online businesses, is that if you show that other people are enjoying it, that are having, you know, a good time with whatever product or service, I think it adds value to the overall experience. Right?
100%.
It's like, and then listening and applying that feedback. Like, yeah, you can ask them, oh, how was your food? And then they could maybe critique it. I know early on it was like about reheating and stuff.
Yeah.
Like the food might go a little bit cold. So then you added the reheating instructions, and now
the heat-proof bag.
Yeah, and then you improve by adding the heat-proof bag. So I think like get people seeing that change, people seeing that, oh, I said something and he actually took that criticism and improved on it. It shows faith, you know, in your business, and it also makes people have faith in your business and want to keep coming back.
Yeah.
So I think that for me was something that I was very impressed by. And you would always like add things like the side dishes, and new packaging. And then now you also have this new way of presenting it where the box can be like stood up so it like can be served straight out of the box. And the presentation of it has always been beautiful for something that's a delivered good.
Yep.
How do you balance keeping the same customers coming back and finding new customers? Because Singapore is very small, right? And this is where you operate. So what's your strategy? What's like, how are you thinking about, you know, how important it is to keep customers coming back versus how important it is to like continue getting new customers to come in?
Ideally, you do it at the same time, right? I guess you need to market yourself. And by us marketing ourselves in our way, we try not to be too pushy with you. We try to make sure we give you value. And that should, and when you're a repeat customer, we make sure we take extra good care of you. We know that you're an extra customer. We make sure that everything is perfect for you. And if you're a new customer and you give us a chance, we want to make sure that you have the right experience as well. So I don't think there's one like this or that, but you need both to thrive. We're still trying to balance it very well. I don't think there's one answer, but just keep making sure your customers are satisfied. And if let's say you really screw up, and we have screwed up sometimes the delivery truck breaks down. You can't do anything about that. So what are you going to do to make sure that the repeat customer feels good? We'll just waive off the entire bill. If it comes after 8, which is our delivery time, we'll just give full refund. We'll take the loss, we'll take the hit. And that's it. There's no questions asked about that. Because we failed to deliver. Right? You can't be paying for something that you didn't receive, right?
Yeah.
You might receive it, but it's not what we want you to receive. We just waive it off.
Mm-hmm. The marketing on social media, is everything been organic, like just posting on social media, or have you also included like paid advertising, like paid ads and stuff?
So for our first 10,000 followers, we didn't have paid advertisement at all. Then for a while we tried. Then now we're back to no paid advertisement. Because we realized that people who wants to follow you and can connect with you will just stay with you. But of course, the sponsored ads, if that's your question, it's good as well. If you got the money to do it, I think it's fine because the algo these days are very accurate. They kind of know what you want.
And so do you think it's important for someone starting out to think about paid advertising, or do you think with your business, you could have just done organic growth the whole way?
We're mostly organic growth. But I think it's not so simple as saying whether it's paid ads or not. Because at the end of the day, if you're doing a product, let's say a water bottle or something like that, you need to have the right person to help you push your product. Someone who identifies with your brand. Some products are just meant to be big. Mm-hmm. Some products are just meant to be local. Like us, we're meant to be local. We're not gonna do across the world, get global domination or something like that. We're not gonna. We know that, but we're just going to do it as best as we can in the local market. How we're gonna be the best is what we do. That's the most important to us. We don't plan to be we don't compare with other people. We just compare with ourselves and make sure we do better every year.
When did you start collaborating with other influencers? So like doing, collaboration videos, collaboration posts.
From the second month. It was an influencer called Zermatt Neo. He reached out to us and he wanted to buy our ribs because he wanted to support local businesses. And from then on, he was the first one to take a chance on us, and we became more viral after that. And it gave us a lot of opportunities to connect differently with different media outlets, people who want to know our brands. So we got lucky in that sense.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. And the collaborations and stuff like that, we try to be as lenient as not lenient. We just treat them as our friends. Right?
Yeah.
And
it's
of
more
course,
of a casual relationship than something like a business transaction.
Exactly. A lot of brands, when you go to them, or influencers, when you go to them and you want to pay immediately, of course they will take your money because they take it as a business transaction. For us, if you're an influencer and you want us to pay, we will never pay you because we don't believe in that. We believe in that if you like our product, we'll send you our product. It's not a cheap product, but it's not the most expensive product. It's not going to hit your rates. So if you want to try our food, you don't have to share. You don't have to share it on your social media pages. We don't tell you to do anything. So we have given it to many influencers that some of them you have to pay full price.
Yeah. And was that something you read about, like being authentic, or is that just from your gut?
No, that's just my gut.
Yeah. That's crazy too, because I think a lot of us entrepreneurs, we try and think like, oh, we have to learn about these things from a book or from podcasts and stuff like that. But I think at the end of the day, like you have to be authentic and genuine. I think that's how you really win online now, because there's just so many people not being authentic online. And people are smart. People are smart enough to sniff the BS, and to know when something's being authentically represented. And I think that's why not paying people is one of the first steps. But then also, if you have a really good product, if you genuinely add value to someone's life, the likelihood of them talking about it, word of mouth or like posting on their social media page, I think it's a very good chance that will happen, right? So I think it starts with having a really good product, which is something that you worked extremely hard to develop. And that's represented with the amount of people interested to promoting your brand. Like Zermatt Neo is one of the biggest food creators in Singapore. And he continues to do collaborations with you.
He's a good friend.
It's just he loves the relationship, and I think that's such an important part about building brand reputation. It's about how you make people feel.
He's a really nice guy. Yeah. I would like to add one more point. It's just that I like to do marketing. It's like something I enjoy doing. At least this is what people term as marketing. Like showing a product to people and people liking it. If you're a business owner, you're not strong at marketing. Just get someone to do it for you. But as a business owner, you must be strong at something. One thing they're really strong at. Example, if you have a product, you're an innovator and stuff like that, then it's fine. You can get a marketer to do your thing. You can get an accountant to do your thing. You can get sales to do your thing. But you need to know one thing they're really good at that's crucial for your business. That's all.
So being very self-aware.
Yeah. You need to know what you're good at when you're not good at.
So now you've recently have a full team behind you. So you started off as like a solopreneur, doing it all by yourself, the cooking, deliveries, the marketing, the accounting, you know, everything yourself. And now you finally built a team. How many people do you have on your team? And what advice would you have for someone who is looking to transition from being a solopreneur to hiring their first team member or growing their team?
They have 6 or 7 staff now. Not very big. But at least for the Jett Barbecue, 6 or 7 staff. I think it's interesting because you are like now taking care of their families. So I think that's the biggest thing, the biggest switch they have to adjust to. You're not only taking care of yourself, you're taking care of them and their families. So their well-being will equate to how well you do as well. So I try to take good care of my staff. Right? And if you are at the stage where you realize that you can't be a solo guy anymore, it's a good thing. It means your business is growing. But you also have to accept that you need to nurture people to do their jobs better. No, as good, if not better than you. And if they do it better than you, it means you're being a great boss. Because in the army, we learn we have different roles and stuff like that. You need teamwork. So I guess in Singapore, we're good. We're lucky in the sense where we go into army young at 18 and you learn what teamwork is about. And you realize that you can never do things by yourself. Very early on, I thought that I can do everything by myself. Now looking back, I don't know how I did it. Maybe it was just pure passion for the business or pure passion for solving the issue. But I'm very much happier now because that I know that I have a strong team behind me and we are working towards a similar goal. And 6 people, 12 hands is much better than my 2 hands. I'm pretty sure that I wouldn't come to where I am today without my team. Just put it that way.
And when was that point that you knew I needed to expand my team? Like at what point of your journey were you like, okay, I need to actually hire people to help me?
So when you work 20 hours a day for that I think it was 52 weeks. Yeah, it was a long time. And your body just tells you need help.
Do you wish you did it earlier? Do you wish you hired people earlier?
Not really. I think it's good that you go through a year plus of not taking a break. Every day you're making sure you work, where it rain, shine. And then you realize actually help is good. If I didn't go through that, maybe today I'll be solo again. But thank God it's not. No, I can't sit down here and talk to you today.
Exactly, yeah. So you're pretty much at a point where your business can run without you, or it is running without you.
I'm still there. I'm still answering calls and stuff like that. I'm not at that stage where it's fully hands off yet.
Yeah.
Because I enjoy the business. So if I wanted to, I think I could, but I don't want to. That's the thing.
Yeah. And do you think at the beginning of your journey, could you have predicted to be where you are now, exactly how things turned out?
No, it's completely different, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I'll fluke after 6 months.
You really?
Yeah.
You gave yourself 6 months.
I really did give myself 6 months. And I was like, okay, I didn't know whether I would succeed, right? Or no, not succeed. Like I didn't know whether the demand would still be there. So I had this clause with the guy who makes the smokers in Texas. And I said that, bro, if last minute, right, it doesn't work, can I still take back my deposit? He was like, yeah, for you, sure.
Wow. So yeah.
So it was a work in progress,
Yeah.
It takes like 1.5 years to book the smokers. So yeah, I just asked him really nicely.
Yeah.
I think by asking you get a lot of things actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It also sounds like relationships, building those relationships and nurturing those relationships has also been very important for you.
Yeah.
Even with your suppliers.
Yeah.
And your customers and also
the people that
you
train me.
collaborate. Yeah.
I went down to, talking about quality, I went down to Texas for 1 year after I started to learn from four of the top 10 pit masters in Texas.
So a pit master is someone who is in charge of the smoker and smoking the ribs.
Yep. I texted about 400 of them. 6 of them replied. 4 agreed to meet me.
And they did it for free?
Free.
Wow.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, what do you think made them want to help you out? Those special 4?
I mean, if a crazy kid from Singapore flew 20 hours to Texas to learn barbecue, I think you'd be very generous with them. And I think 4 of them were really nice people as well. They genuinely had the heart of barbecue in them. The heart of barbecue is very interesting. It only applies to people who do barbecue for a long time, because actually people who do Texas barbecue are very nice people. They share everything, which is very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the only question one of them asked me was that, where are you going to start your barbecue restaurant? I said Singapore. And he was like, oh, great. Then I said, what if I said Texas? He said, then I'll shoot you now. Then he was like, then I was like, seriously? He was like, nah, I'm just kidding. But I said that I wouldn't want you to start behind my bro's backyard, right? That's not so smart. So if you're going back to Singapore and you're going to expand it across the world, yeah, why not?
No, that's really cool that you made the effort to go all the way to Texas to learn.
Yeah.
Because like in a way you were already doing it before, right? Like
Yeah.
you learned online and you had your smoker ready, but I think to take things to the next step, especially with your product, right? It comes back to making the best product, being the best in your category.
Exactly.
You do have to improve and upskill yourself. Yeah. What I kind of want to touch a little bit about mindset. We have kind of briefly talked about your mindset in relevance to the questions that I asked, but like specifically, what was the most difficult part of your journey so far? Like what was your lowest point? And also take me through what was going through your head around that time.
Most difficult part. Okay, so Jett Barbecue started as a home-based delivery business during COVID when Singapore was locked and we couldn't fly and restaurants were closed, or at least restaurants only can have 2 people at that point of time. So I think it's somewhere about 2022, March or something like that. March or 20, I can't remember. Like one of those months, Singapore opened their gates and restaurants were open. So then naturally, the demand for your business went like that. Because there's no need for deliveries anymore. And people were like doing revenge traveling, I would like to say. So everyone was just traveling, everyone was just eating out, because it's something that they couldn't do for about 2 years. So that part was a very interesting part of Jett Barbecue.
That was like a year into the business.
Yeah, a year plus. When we were seeing some positive traction, we were doing good for ourselves, we were paying ourselves back for the startup cost. So I need to make a decision. Used to be we released once a month. And if we sold out, we sold out. So I made the decision to make it open in the sense where you can order anytime you wanted. That was scary for us as well because we didn't know how much we needed to prepare. But luckily enough, after everyone did their revenge traveling, our demand went back actually more than what it was before. So it used to be in the early days, we sold about 500 kilos, 600 kilos a month. Now we do about 3-4 tons. So actually it's been better. And that's because a lot of businesses that delivered to homes closed down. So then there was only us left. So we were lucky in that sense. So we just changed a little bit, stay true to what we were, and just tied it.
You say we when you talk about yourself. Like, did you have someone close to you helping you? Or was it just you going through that?
I think it's just me. That's what my brother always say. It's me. One person, right? Singular. But why I say we is because I think as a company, there's sometimes
you had staff in that time, yeah.
So it's a company thing. But strangely, when I was alone, I also said we. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just how it is.
Yeah.
I think we.
You have an imaginary friend, support buddy. Yeah.
Yeah, but I moving back to the loneliness part.
Yeah.
I had this best friend called Alex. He'll always be there every week to help me.
Wow.
So even though as a solopreneur, he was there to help me, and then afterwards, my now wife, in the later parts when I started my commercial kitchen, which you didn't know anything at all. There was a whole bunch of rules that you have to follow and you don't know how to apply them. And you just submit it and you try again and you hope for the best, right? Yeah, and my now wife also helped me. So technically it was a solo man thing, but I have friends who helped me.
Yeah. Did you ever think at that point that you would have to eventually close your business?
When the COVID opened.
Yeah. When business started declining.
It was not like declining, it was declined.
Boom.
I didn't think of it at that moment, but it was definitely a more realistic and scary moment, right? Where you need to do something. And so we prepared for it. we did certain things, and then we survived through it. So we were lucky to survive through it, and we still managed to do what I love to do, which is serve Texas barbecue. So it's good for us.
What does success mean to you?
It's a good question. But to be very honest, I don't know the answer yet. Because I don't think I'm successful yet. Still a long, long way to go. Success is difficult to define if you haven't reached there yet, I think. That's my personal view. A lot of people do say that, wow, you managed to do this barbecue thing, you're successful, but I think we're still very far from it. You just did it for 3 years, people have been doing it for 30, 40, 50 years. I think success is when you can do it over a long period of time and satisfy people's needs, I think. Now that you ask me.
Do you think, even though you're not successful in your own definition, because a lot of people would say that you have achieved success. You know, you have this, you've built this business from scratch. You now you have a living off of this. You have a bit more time now since you've built a team. But are you happy in this moment?
Yeah, I'm happy. But again, I'm generally a quite happy person. Like you know, I try to look at the best at things now. So I think success is, if you talk about business sense, I'm not sure. I really don't know. Because it can be infinite. You can be, who's the richest guy now? Either
Bezos, probably.
Bezos
or Musk.
There's
probably some unknown guy who's extremely rich, right? So
we don't know.
Yeah.
But I think success in life, and it's something I'm still trying to do, it's like you keep the people you want beside you and they're in good terms with you, your friends. That's very important. You don't need the whole world rooting for you. I think that's difficult. If you try to achieve that, then that's just not me. But for me, success is the people who you love are supporting you, and the thing that you want to do, you're doing it. That's success, I guess.
So it sounds like you are successful, no?
No, but it's still a long way to go. You're not there yet. You know, there's many, many more steps along the way. It's like success, I guess, at the end of the day, you can. But I guess it's once you feel you're successful, means you're contented, right? With what you have. I'm happy, but I think I still can do better. So, yeah, I actually don't know how to answer this question.
Yeah.
It's quite an interesting one.
I also feel like you're young, you know, you're 28.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it's going to evolve as well.
That's a good point.
It's constantly changing.
Yeah.
For sure, if you ask your parents, like, at 28, what define success, like, it'll probably be a very different definition to what they have now.
Yeah.
Right? What about your childhood could be the reason why you're an entrepreneur today?
So my family does business, right? Like I come from a family of a lot of entrepreneurs. So I guess that's just a natural course of things. If your family knows how to do business, then you naturally do business. If your parents are doctors or lawyers, you naturally become doctors or lawyers. Unless you have a different calling in life, some of them become something greater. Then that's just that I was lucky. I was born in the right family. And we were exposed to business at a young age, right? Like even going to the store on a Sunday to mop the floor. Your friends wouldn't do that. But we didn't complain because we knew that that's normal, for us at least. So we understood the concept of business from a young age where there were sacrifices needed to be made, but to us, they were not sacrifices. To us, it's just what things needed to be done. So that's the difference, I feel.
Did you have a role model growing up?
My dad.
How do you think he shaped you to become who you are today?
It's a lot of good advices from the man. He's very sharp. And yeah, he always cares for the best for us. So that's the most important, I think. Parents always care for the best of you, regardless of whether you think or not at that time. But I think he managed to pave me in the right way.
Yeah, because even in the army, I mean, we were all really young and naive then, but you were always very decisive, and I don't know, you always seem to like think straight, even in like those times where we had very little sleep, we were in the middle of the jungle. Like you're very dependable, very
Thank
like,
you.
you always thought
You
straight.
too.
I'd like to think that. I
You were,
definitely
you were.
depended on you a lot
Yeah. It was nice.
when we were in the unit together. And I think like, yeah, you're someone, you're my role model, like I
Wow.
genuinely think,
Yeah, lah, bro.
like, and I'm sure, having a dad and my dad's also my role model too. And like having a dad that's so
Supportive.
I think that's probably like the greatest gift we both have been given. And a lot of people don't have that,
Yep.
And I think like it's one of those things that I do think for someone pursuing something as difficult as entrepreneurship, to have some sort of role model, whether that's your family members, a friend, someone that you meet, a mentor. Do you think for someone starting out, it's important to have a mentor, to find a mentor?
Yeah, 100%. You definitely need someone to lead you along the way. Finding the best mentor will set you up for greater chances of success. But then the issue is that whether the mentor wants to teach you, the mentee, that's the issue, right? Because it's not their job to need to teach you. It's your job to be able to let them teach you. And that's what a lot of people in a privileged environment fail to see. You need to make sure that they're comfortable teaching you. If not, why do they need to teach you?
Yeah. So if there was someone out there that has maybe a connection with someone who owns a business, who's very successful, how would they approach this person? Like, what advice would you have for them?
Just try.
Just ask.
Just ask. I asked 400 people. 6 people replied me. And I feel I won. When one person replied me, I felt like I won. I won this damn lottery. That's what I thought.
So just keep trying.
Yeah, I didn't think of like the 300 plus times I got rejected. I just thought of another way. Maybe I didn't text right. That's what I thought to myself. Maybe the way I emailed them was too direct. Okay, let me try another way. And just so happened, forward.
And do you think that, like, if someone approached you, like, Jett, I love what you did. Like, I want to be in the F&B business. I want to create my own food and beverage product. Like, I'll work for free with you. Is that, like, how would you want someone to approach you as someone who could be a future mentor?
I feel that I'm not at that stage to be a mentor yet because I'm still figuring things out. I think a mentor is someone that has already built something very, very, very established. It's not what I've achieved. Maybe if I'm 50 and then I'm more established, then maybe you can ask me the question again and I'll tell you. But now I don't have the answer because I need to learn from people. I'm not at the stage there to teach people. So far away, man. But if you can't find a teacher in real life, I like to say this, there are a lot of teachers in books. I like to read a lot of biographies of business owners that built their own business and they wrote their own books. I feel it's a bit different than if an author writes it for them. There's some sort of essence missing. So I like to read a lot of biographies, especially those written by the founders themselves.
And what was your favorite book that you've read? Has there been one book that really made an impact on you?
I like a lot of books, actually. Maybe all those that have been written by the actual founders, I enjoy a lot. And the book written by our minister mentor in Singapore, I like his 3 books as well. I think that foresight. And that's why if you ask me whether I'm successful, the true definition of success is I don't want to bring politics into this, but I think it's a bit above politics. It's Lee Kuan Yew's books. The amount of foresight he has, even after his passing, it's crazy because whatever he's saying 15 years ago is coming true today. So that's, if that's another level.
Where he affects generations.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the most common mistake you see people make when starting a business?
Planning too much. That's all.
So like
Over planning.
overthinking as well.
Overthinking. Pretty sure a lot of you guys have heard this definition of you're successful when you can explain something in one line. Or something like that. Along those lines.
Like your business. Explain your business in one line.
Explain different facts or problems or things, even your business in one line, or at least in one page. If you need more than an A4 size paper to explain something, means that you haven't figured things out.
Yeah. I think there is a quote. It's
Yeah.
simplicity is sophistication,
Yeah.
right? Like it is to boil something down to its simplest form takes a lot of work, a lot of effort.
Yeah.
And that's also figurative. Like making a business is, you have one product. That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
And yeah, you could say the sides and things are,
Yeah.
but they complement that one
Exactly.
thing. You have the wrong side that doesn't really match,
Yeah.
that can affect it. So like simplicity is also like the
Sophistication.
combination and how you
There's
fit
a lot
everything
of
together.
thought going into simplicity.
Yeah.
Like example, sorry, to bring back up LKY's book.
Yeah.
A normal 15-year-old could read that book and understand complex world affairs. So in 300 pages or 400 pages, I can't remember how many pages, a 15-year-old could read and summarize world affairs in that book and what's going to happen in the next 15 years. That's crazy.
And probably the same thing with building company culture. As soon as you build a team and you're growing, and like you have to have a way to communicate the vision, the mission, the goals of the company. And if you can't do that effectively, then it makes it very hard for everyone to work together as a team.
Correct.
So yeah, it is really like comes down to everything. Yeah. So don't plan too much.
Not plan too much.
Yeah. But try and like, I think over time things get easier to simplify and to make more concise. Like at the beginning you have like, okay, a passion, you have an idea for what your product or service is going to be, and you just have to take action. I think like I have found that with myself too, is like I spend a lot of time in the dreaming phase, and you just got to take action, because the dreaming phase is fun. It's fun to think about it.
Yeah.
Right. But you need to just take action. And I think that that's something that's super important at the beginning, especially because you can spend a lot of time. I've spent a lot of time in the thinking phase. Will this work? Should I have this color? Like I remember with my second business, like thinking of the name. I spent weeks thinking of the name, when in actuality, like the name doesn't make the brand makes the name, and the brand takes time to build. So, and you can always change your name.
Exactly.
Like it was Bistro Jett and now it's Jett Barbecue.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But also you need to plan a bit lah. Jett Barbecue, to be very frank with you, it's a bit too long. So
You want to shorten it?
Yeah, but I don't.
Jett BBQ.
Yeah, but I hate BBQ. And I was like, it's just weird.
Do you have a morning routine? I feel like in the entrepreneurship world, there's this huge thing about morning routines and like getting your day started. Do you have one?
I wake up early, 6:37, and start my day. That's why I try to live by. No specific routine. 'Cause I don't drink coffee.
Yeah, why don't you drink coffee? That's something for 7 years I never knew about you.
Yeah, I never.
I always thought you were a coffee drinker.
No.
So no caffeine?
No, I drink tea, but I don't drink much tea or coffee. I just don't drink coffee or tea.
Wow.
Funny. I just don't do it.
So you get up at 6:30 and you just start.
7, just start.
You get out of the house or you're still at home?
No, I can be at home.
Straight away working, or are you doing other things?
No working.
Straight away.
Messages, mail, whatever.
Well, what does money mean to you as a business owner, as someone also young, trying to pave the world? I feel like people our age are very money focused. I think that that's just something that is ingrained in us. You know, when you start out a career, it's like, oh, how much is your job paying you and stuff like that. Like, what does money mean to you?
Money is important because it just you need money to start things. So in a sense, it's important because without it, you can't do things. Things to affect change, things to solve an issue. So it's important in that sense. That's, to me, I don't think we need to hide the fact that money is important as a business owner. Because without it, it's very difficult. Or with it, you have responsibility. So you just have to manage it well.
If you could go back in time to the beginning of your journey, what would be one piece of advice you would give to yourself?
Don't think too much. Just start. Really, that's the truth. And that's why I told you. That's why I tell people. At least from my small understanding of what business is, don't think too much and just do it. Right?
Yeah.
That's it. And then because the reason why it's simple, because once you start, you know whether your thing works or not. Society will tell you very quickly what works and what don't work. It won't hide from you. Actually, it will come straight in your face and tell you. Because if you get 0 sales for 2 weeks, are you going to change? Or are you going to think of a new way to market yourself? 100%. You're not going to be like, oh, I got 0 sales. Oh, I got 0 sales. For 2 weeks, you try, and then you know that something doesn't work.
Yeah.
And if it works, you double down on it.
Mm-hmm. I think the last question I have for you is, if you have a message for the world, what would that be?
Well, follow your passion and keep moving forward, I think.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank
you so much for your time, man.
Thank you, man. See, muscles.
All right,
Thanks,
man.
bro.
Thank you so much for your time.